Wow, it is so weird shooting a video without Joe, but I know he's gonna be happy when he sees this because we've gotten requests for food videos, and in our family, Joe's not really the guy you would call for a food video. So on top of that, we've got some gorgeous weather coming up this October weekend, and I'm prepping food for us to take a weekend away, so timing was good. Let's dive in.
Oh, fast forward a little bit, and we are in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. The fall colors are beautiful. Stay tuned to the very end of this video, and there is a tour of Marquette, Michigan. And the fall colors are so beautiful. I mean, look behind me. Look at all this. It's amazing. So stay tuned to the end. Don't miss it. Enjoy the cooking video.
First of all, timeline. For me personally, I like to have my food prepped by about supper time the day before we leave. That gives me a chance to put the food in the refrigerator and let it cool down in our home refrigerator. So when I put it in the Alto, it's already cold. The other benefits to having your food prep done by about supper time the night before is that gives me the evening to put the kitchen back together. I usually rip it apart. I mean, I pull everything out, I pile up dishes, and this gives me a chance to clean everything up in the evening. Also, the closer you cook your food to when you leave, the longer you will have to eat it. You know, it only keeps for a certain amount of time. So it will still stay fresh and you'll still be able to pull from it for additional days if you cook it closer to your departure time. So all the food that I'm making today is vegan. I don't think I'm putting anything unusual in it today. I mean, there's certainly ingredients all of them I wasn't familiar with before, but they're all plants. I think it will, even if you don't make the exact things that I'm making, that it hopefully will help with your brainstorming process of what you'd like to prep. We've been vegan for, it's like a week away from 5 years right now. And it was a huge life changer for us. I know Joe put the story in the box below, so if you want to hear our personal story about why we did that, we wouldn't even be able to be traveling and in a camper without this life change to eating this way. There was a year before we went vegan where the only dates we had ever been on were at Mayo Clinic. We would go to Mayo Clinic for frequent visits for Joe, and we would grab dinner or lunch while we were there, and that was what we considered to be our dates because there really wasn't the ability to do anything more than that. So this has just opened up a whole new world. We feel better, our lives are different, and we wish we'd known about it sooner. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so my first tip would be to start with the things that you are going to make that will take the longest to make. I'm going to start by cooking some chickpeas in my pressure cooker. And those chickpeas could either be hummus or a chickpea salad. Those things go well. We put hummus on our avocado toast, love it. Chickpea salad is great in sandwiches or wraps. You can pretty much put hummus or chickpea salad with just about anything. So I am making some fresh chickpeas in my pressure cooker. And while that's cooking, I can work on other things. Okay, so I have soaked a cup and a half of dry chickpeas overnight. I've rinsed and drained them. And then to that, I am going to add a little piece of Pacific kombu, which is a seaweed. And that makes the beans more digestible and also puts some nutrition into them. 2 bay leaves, since they're so tiny, and a hunk of red onion that's just not going anywhere in the fridge. So I'm gonna cover that with water. Okay, I'm gonna plug this in so it is out of the way. I set it for 19 minutes on high pressure. It takes some time to get up to temperature and some time to cool down, so that'll give me plenty of time to work on something else. I'm not usually big on baking, but I have some banana here that is overripe and I'd like to put it to use. So I am going to make a loaf of banana bread, which is great for snacks, either on the road or when you're stationary. But also because this particular recipe is so healthy. It could serve as something that you might have with breakfast as well. This is from Plant Powered Families, Dreena Burton's cookbook, and it's called The Best Banana Bread. There is no oil in it. It's very whole ingredients. So let's get started on that. Wow guys, that was a rough start. I was going to show you how I puree my banana and I dropped it all on the floor. For my banana, I'm just gonna puree it with a stick blender. Yeah. So let's start with the dry ingredients. I'm going to add some white whole wheat pastry flour and some oat flour. I never have oat flour, so I just blend it in my blender to make rolled oats into oat flour. Also to that, I'm going to add baking powder, baking soda, cinnamon, nutmeg, and some sea salt. Mix that up. Oh, and I also added vanilla powder in there. I have a new bottle of vanilla powder that's really big, and I just thought I'd use some of that up. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you can hear that, but they're mowing our lawn. Must be a Life More Light video. These are mixed up. Set this aside. Take another bowl for the banana puree, which was very exciting to make. And some non-dairy milk. I actually used almond milk from Thrive Market. And then some maple syrup. Mix that up. Bring back the dry. I'm gonna add the wet to the dry just until it's combined. And then I'm gonna add just a few tablespoons of chocolate chips. I used Enjoy Life semi-sweet chocolate chips. And we will pour that into our loaf pan that I have prepped with parchment paper. Get it all in there. So this has to go in the oven for about 43 minutes. So that gives me lots of time to work on other things. Okay, now that those two things are going, I would like to go out into the Alto and turn on the refrigerator so that can start cooling. I like to take up the space in the refrigerator so it doesn't have to work so hard to cool it down. I add these ice packs to the freezer. If nothing's going in the freezer, I just leave them in there so it's not empty. And then I have these bags that I've like recycled denim or something from a meal delivery service, and I just tuck those in. And then I turn the refrigerator dial to between 3 and 4. Our dial goes to 7. We have a NovaCool, I believe it's a 4.1 cubic foot 12 volt refrigerator. Also works on shore power, which is plugged in right now. And it goes up to 7. I would never. But we find between 3 and 4 is plenty cold for our food. Another benefit of eating vegan is that you can be a lot more flexible with the temperature on your refrigerator. There isn't so much of a concern of foodborne illnesses from not being cooled to a cold enough temperature. 3 to 4 works really well for us. I'll let this start cooling, and as long as I'm here, I have washed my bedrolls and they're ready. As long as I'm here, I have my freshly laundered bedrolls, and I think I'm just gonna put those together before I go back in and work on the kitchen. The banana bread is cooked. My chickpeas are done. They're cooling. Irma, go lay down, honey. I'll show you my baked banana bread here. It smells so good. And I think I'll release whatever's left on the pressure here. Woo! I'm gonna drain those and then we can get back to work. My pan is screaming hot. Let me throw these onions and peppers in, and then we will talk about what's happening here on the stove. Another one of my tips for meal prep is to vary it up. I do this every week, even when we're home. It's just, I like to get a lot of variety in food we're eating, so we're not eating like pasta every night or something with rice every night. So I try to switch it up. So maybe there's a meal that's a sandwich when we're prepping. Maybe there's a meal that's a stew, something thick. Especially if I'm hitting the road, I don't want to make like a thin soup. So maybe like a chili. That's actually what we're making right now. Just making a quick chili to throw in. And then I probably do want a noodle. Some sort of noodle dish would be nice. If I can work in a potato as the base for a meal, that's always great. A quinoa salad or some sort of quinoa based dish. I try to think of those things that are gonna hold the dish down and vary that up. Okay, we gotta get going on this chili. Okay, this actually was a really easy recipe that just called for frozen onions and peppers. I actually used some green peppers for our garden. I didn't have, the store didn't have any frozen onions and peppers, so I just used the regular old fresh, which tastes amazing, of course. Kind of what I prefer anyway. Okay, I've stirred in some garlic. I'm gonna give that a couple of seconds here, and then literally just dump everything else in and let it sit for a little bit, and we will have chili. This one is not asked for a lot of work. Some tomatoes with the juices. I went with petite diced tomatoes because sometimes it's kind of nice when you have a soup not to have giant pieces of tomato in there. Some green chilies. 3 different kinds of beans. I've got Great Northern beans. I've got black beans, some kidney beans, all kinds of beans in there. Some tomato sauces. Okay, and then just some chili powder. Something like that, maybe a little bit more, and some cumin. Oh, good. Okay, and I'm gonna put a little salt and pepper in it, but I don't know, I'm gonna wait with the salt for later, so let's let that go, and we'll check back in about 10 minutes. Another thing, big tip for meal prepping, definitely have some music ready.
All right, here's Mariah Carey on Spotify.
I am editing on the fly here because I got to my second dish, which I was pretty excited about, but then I realized it had a lot of the similar ingredients to the chili, even though it's not chili. So I'm gonna wait on that one. And for now, I'm gonna make a quinoa dish. So I'm gonna get the quinoa started in the pressure cooker right away. I have a 1.5 cups of quinoa that I have rinsed. If you're not familiar with quinoa, I actually didn't realize that not everybody was familiar with quinoa until recently, but if you're not familiar, it has a similar, I think she thinks I'm talking to her or something, I don't know. It has a similar feel when you're eating it as rice, but it's technically not a grain, it's a small seed. But gives you some variety from other things in terms of like your nutrition, and also just kind of gives it a different feel to the meal. So I'm gonna work on the quinoa now. We'll get going on the next part as soon as this is going. Okay, to go with the quinoa that's cooking right now, I am roasting some vegetables. I'm gonna do it very simply with a little bit of spice added to it, and then there'll be like a creamy garlic sauce that I'm gonna put on top of that, and that can either just be eaten as a bowl with quinoa, vegetables, and the sauce mixed into the vegetables, or you can always throw it in a wrap too. It's always another good way. I mean, also as roasted vegetables would work great on just like an entree salad as well. Just gonna put a little bit of oil on just so they get nice and brown in the oven. And then I have some of this blackened Cajun spice blend. I love all things Cajun spice, so I think with the creamy sauce on top, having a little bit of this Cajun seasoning in there should be a nice addition. Oh, a little bit much there. Whew. Put those in the oven. Let's make the sauce. The secret weapon in sauces for vegans is raw cashews. Oh, they're so good. They're kind of pricey, but for me, they're totally worth it. So this sauce is gonna have cashews in it, You could actually make cashew sauces with just water, but this one has some non-dairy milk in it as well. Okay, so because I have a Vitamix blender, I do not need to soak my cashews, but if you just have a regular blender, make sure you soak them and they'll blend more smooth. So I've got some cashews, some plant milk, which is, I think it's half soy, half almond. Doesn't matter. 1 cup of plant milk. These are great too, these Tovolo scrapers, blender scrapers, because you can get really far down in there. And then I need about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Nutritional yeast, another secret weapon. This stuff is so good. I really like this brand as well, although they're really not that different brand to me, but this one is my fave. So gives it like a cheesy sort of-ness flavor to it. If you haven't seen it, just looks like little flakes. And then some garlic, a little salt and pepper. I'm gonna blend this and we will have our cashew sauce for the top to fold into the vegetables once they're done roasting. Okay, it's all blended. Let's take a little, it looks you can kind of get a feel, it's already creamy, but it will get creamier and thicker. Take a little taste. It's really good. The fresh garlic in there, super powerful. I love it. Okay, the quinoa is done. This is how it looks when it's finished cooking. I'm just gonna fluff it a little. And then I'm gonna wait for this to cool down. It can be packed up, basically. My chili is still cooling. My quinoa is cooling. You can leave that stuff out on the counter for a little while, but definitely be careful that you don't leave it out too long because bacteria will start to grow. So I go room temperature, probably for an hour. You can go, I think, up to 2, but watch that. But otherwise, they're still hanging out okay. And one of the things that we've been doing a lot more of recently is having a salad on hand. And that doesn't sound super exciting, but I really like our salad. So I put together a bowl that's all like prepared, and we can always pull from the other things like the roasted veggies or, you know, whatever else we have, the hummus, whatever we have on hand. We can just dump that on top and it just makes it more filling and flavorful. So let's prep the salad. Okay, I started with a couple of these 5-ounce boxes and I put that in this storage container that I have here. On top of that, I'm gonna add some of these like they're not shredded, but they're like matchstick carrots on top. I have some sliced mushrooms in the fridge, and I like them smaller than this. I usually just use the whole mushrooms and chop them up myself, but these were in there, so let's just use them up. And on top, got some green onions. Woo! They roll everywhere. I have an English cucumber that was in the fridge that I can steal from here. This is a zucchini. Honestly, can't tell the difference between the zucchini and the cucumber when it's in there. And then I have some fresh basil. I think I'm gonna have to use up from one of these crazy plants that I got at the store. Take some of these. Whenever you hit a bite of basil in this salad, it's so good. Doesn't matter what kind of dressing you have, it just tastes great. Like, I like to rinse all of my vegetables because who knows what landed or touched it before it got to me. And there's my salad. Our roasted veggies are out of the oven. And I've combined them into one pan because they've reduced enough that I can do that. And I'm gonna drizzle that garlic sauce that we made over the top, and then I'm gonna put them back in the oven and just give them a moment to kind of enjoy each other's company and, you know, come together as one. The creamy veggies came out of the oven and they thickened up great in there. I tasted one and they're tender and creamy and yummy. This was not the dish I expected it was gonna be, but I'm looking forward to eating this. It is not self-control or self-discipline that's gonna make you wanna eat that salad, it's the dressing. So let's make a creamy ranch dressing. Okay, well obviously you can just use a store-bought dressing if you'd like. Certainly there are vegan ranch dressings out there, but making your own dressing takes such a little amount of time. I'm actually making a double batch today, so I've got cashews, tofu. If you don't like tofu, still try a recipe like this because it is, you can't tell. No one I've ever served this dressing has said, oh, there's tofu in there. Got some water. Got 4 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. A little bit more. Okay. Got 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Okay, I like lemon, so that's good. 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. That's a single batch. I'm making a double, so that's why I'm using way more. Hopefully you're not freaking out going, you're using way too much. Some maple syrup. Gives it a nice sweetness. Parsley. Every ranch dressing's gotta have some parsley. And of course, some dill weed. And some onion powder. Yum. Little bit of sea salt and pepper. And I'm just gonna blend this up until it's nice and smooth and creamy, and it'll keep for a week. Well, considering I pretty much just eyeballed everything in this, it tastes amazing. I'm just gonna pour it in a mason jar. Here we go. And this is ready for the weekend. So the only thing I have left to use up is the chickpeas I made. I was gonna go with a hummus, but I think I decided to just go with like a sandwich filling, a chickpea salad. I am smashing up my chickpeas right now. I think Joe's home. Hey.
Hi. Thinking of shorts? Look at you. We got your cooking channel on? That's why you're all dressed up?
Babe.
You're making a video?
Yeah, I'm making a video for you.
I figured.
Are you happy?
Yeah, sure. I love it.
I thought you would sweep me up in your arms and no, I don't want you to do that actually. Forget it. Sling an arm around me. Okay, here we go with the chickpea salad. Okay, this is way too small of a bowl, but I don't want to make another dirty dish. So we're just gonna put it in here and I'll stir it off camera because it's gonna be slow and painful. So to the chickpeas, I'm adding celery, green onions, some chopped up little dill pickles, and a yellow red pepper. I usually like a mayo-free chickpea salad, but we don't use a lot of mayo, so this jar is almost empty. It is good with mayo. It seems like a lot. I've only needed 6 tablespoons. Let's just assume that's 6. Okay, I also have some garlic in there, and I'm gonna put some yellow mustard in there, a little bit of lemon juice, a little sea salt. These are homemade chickpeas, so I'm not too shy about the sea salt because they aren't salted otherwise. And some black pepper. And all I have to do is stir that up, and that is ready for sandwiches. I managed to get it stirred up. It was kind of blah for me, so I added some everything bagel seasoning. We're not people that add everything bagel to everything, but it sounded like a good idea. And I added a little bit more mustard so that would cut through. But yeah, all set. But this is the real fun part, is when you've prepped everything and it's all ready to go. Now that might seem like a lot, but you don't live with my husband. He does things like he'll say, let's go away, we'll just go for a couple of nights. It'll be great. And then you get there and then he says, it's really nice here, why don't we just stay like a week? I didn't prep for a week. So now I pretty much just prep for a week. And then if we don't eat it all, I bring it home, put it back in the fridge, and we can still eat it. I hope that if this isn't something you're going to prep yourself, that it has inspired you to think about the meals that you could easily prep I would not normally cook like this on the road. That would probably be a different video because I definitely try to make things a little bit easier on the road. When I'm at home, I want it to be a little hard. I want to use what I have in my kitchen. I want to, not have to worry about the amount of dishes I'm doing and just enjoy the food when I'm out. So this was truly a video to prep that food to hit the road.
Come on, Irma. Good girl. Good girl. Come on. Yeah, good girl, Irma. We are in Michigan's beautiful Upper Peninsula, and the fall colors are peak. Today, we're gonna take our rig up to Marquette. It's on Lake Superior, and Lake Superior is one of my most favorite places ever, and I don't care where around the lake. I've been all the way around the lake. If you don't know, I took a small motorcycle and went around Lake Superior a few years ago, and it's kind of what started us on this whole journey. So I'm excited to go back up there because it's unbelievable. We have this enormous, enormous lake that's pretty much in the Midwest backyard. I think it's one of the largest by landmass lakes in the world, freshwater lakes, and it's unbelievable. So we're gonna go out and check out the fall colors, and we're gonna bring you with. Who's gonna hook up the trailer?
Oh no! Now that I learned I have to do it.
I'm not saying you have to. I just wondered if you wanted to.
Joe, I feel like you should end the video with me. Okay, thanks for watching. I know this is probably a long video. Hopefully Joe edits it way down, but I hope it's helpful.
Bye.
Wait,
What?
you always say that thing at the end.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching Life More Light. Bye.
Bye!